The Invincible universe is packed with insanely powerful characters, some with gimmicks, others who can literally rewrite reality. But which one truly stands above the rest? Today, I'm breaking them down tier by tier to find out who's the most overpowered character in Invincible. And trust me, the top spot might surprise you. Starting with the lowest tier, Tier 1, Gimmick OP, which contains characters who sound OP when you hear their powers, but the characters themselves aren't strong enough for that to actually be the case. And taking the bottom spot in this tier, Duplicate and Multi-Paul. On paper, Kate and Paul's ability to clone themselves without limits is insanely OP. For one, they can never die as long as they've got even one clone stashed away in a safe place, since they all have a shared conscience. As far as combat goes though, that's pretty much the only unique advantage they've got, because when it comes down to stats, they're just ordinary humans with hand-to-hand training and a serious need for therapy in Paul's case. If any of the stronger characters decide they want to end the fight early, like Mark actually did in early Season 3, there's nothing cloners can really do to fight back, other than pop out more of themselves to function as literal meat shields. Monster Girl is a menace on any battlefield. Essentially, the Invincible universe's version of the Incredible Hulk. She's got the raw power to put away most characters native to Earth. So why is she in the gimmick tier? Well, because her transformation comes at the cost of literally de-aging her every time she does it, which is why she looks like a kid despite being in her mid-20s. So practically speaking, she can only actually use her power so many times before it de-ages her out of existence. And considering how many other superheroes are available in their world, it's not even worth it, because as strong as she gets, Monster Girl just can't compete with the strongest characters in her verse. Hell, she's not even the strongest human in the verse, which is a title you'd think would go to the Immortal. But the reality is, he's only the strongest human in this tier, and that's only a recent development, because for centuries on end, Immortal was the strongest thing on Earth. After all, he's strong enough to throw hands with Viltrumites, fast enough to travel cross-country in minutes, and durable enough to survive decapitation. But he's got a pretty definite hard cap when it comes to all those stats, and ironically, his main gimmick, his immortality, is what makes him look weak, because this man cannot stop dying. Whether it's in the main timeline, an alternate future, or even a different dimension, he's constantly being curb-stomped by characters above his weight class. He's the definition of a big fish in a small pond that's suddenly thrown into the ocean, and in this particular ocean, he just can't compete with the whales that are Tier 2 baseline Viltrumites. These guys are just like they sound, the baseline for truly OP beings. After all, they're a race of planet-conquering warriors that entire galaxies fear, and few have caused more fear than Omni-Man, who's the gold standard for baseline Viltrumite power, and the series wastes no time proving that. He wipes the floor with the entire Guardians of the Globe in minutes, tearing through the strongest heroes on Earth, including a speedster who should have been too fast to react to. When he fights Mark, he sends him flying across multiple states, plowing him through skyscrapers, mountains, and even a packed subway just to make a point. His durability is just as insane. He tanks a nuke-level orbital blast from Cecil's GDA satellite, fights off a revived Immortal, a bloodlusted kaiju, and his son, all in the same span of a few hours. And that's before even considering the literal planet he decimated and dominated within the first season, Flaxen Homeworld, or the black hole whose gravitational pull he resisted after leaving Earth. The physical stats needed for all that alone put Omni-Man among the strongest in his verse. But there is one thing he lacks. After years on Earth and raising two different families, including his Thraxan wife and kid, Omni-Man's edge and ruthlessness has dulled. He's not the heartless killing machine he once was, which is exactly what Conquest is. Easily top 3 strongest of all Viltrumites, Conquest is one of the most menacing and terrifying characters in the verse, and that's only about half because of how strong he is. Everything that holds true for Omni-Man holds true for Conquest as well, except their personality. Conquest lives for battle, and in case you missed it,
I am so lonely.
Yeah, Conquest is so strong he hasn't had a good fight in who knows how many decades, and it's made him really cranky. Unlike Nolan, he's a rabid attack dog that'll turn whatever he's pointed at into a flaming crater, with Viltrumites only getting stronger with age and Conquest being one of the oldest living Viltrumites. His power level is in a league of its own, capable of toying with Invincible and Kid Omni-Man at the same time, traumatizing them both and breaking their bodies. Of course, that only lasts as long as Mark is holding back, which is why the top spot in and the Viltrumite tier goes to Mark Grayson, mid-series. He's always been strong by Earth standards, what with being the son of Omni-Man himself and all. But by the end of Season 3, Mark Grayson has carved out a pretty solid list of wins even beyond that, from the Mauler twins to the Atlantean Kaiju to Angstrom Levy's dimension-hopping five-head and finally Conquest himself. Mark has showed the ability to grow and improve at an exponential rate. Not only does he have the best genetics possible to get strong enough to overwrite most of his human traits, Mark still gets some major benefits from his human side, specifically adrenaline. During his fight with Conquest, the big guy outright says that getting mad doesn't make their species any stronger, and that's because their baseline is so strong they've never needed a fight or flight response and the adrenaline to go with it. Thanks to his human side though, Mark does have that, which allows him to break well past his own limits when he's worked up enough. Case in point, the way he brutalized Conquest towards the end of their fight, which is kind of a callback to what he did to Angstrom Levy in the Desert Dimension. As powerful as he is though, Mark would likely still lose to the characters in Tier 3, Mechanically Broken, which contains characters who have a specific trait or mechanic to their being that allows them to surpass most everyone else, starting with Bulletproof, who's essentially a completely human version of a Viltrumite. He's got all the same basic powers as them on paper: heightened strength, speed, reflexes, and the ability to fly. And if you're doubting that he's on par with Viltrumites, just look at his short bout against Goggles Vincible during the Invincible War. He got the drop on the Psycho and took 0 damage from the counterattack. But beyond that, Bulletproof has one really broken mechanic he can abuse. He can absorb kinetic energy. For anyone who's rusty on the topic, kinetic energy is what comes from all physical movement. Anything that's moving at immense speed or with extreme strength holds similarly intense levels of kinetic energy, and Bulletproof can just take it all in to make himself stronger. In the show, we haven't really seen him in a situation where he can go all out with this yet, since his role in the fight with the Reanimant Cecil unleashed on Mark, the fight against the Sequids, and the Invincible War were all pretty minimal. What they all do show is that he hasn't once looked truly winded, and he'd shine brightest in a drawn-out one-on-one fight. After all, with his kinetic absorption, he just leech power from his opponent's attacks until he gets stronger than them. But his absorption does have an upper limit. Plus, not all attacks are necessarily kinetic energy intensive. With more technical or grip-based attacks, like an ultra-sharp blade or outright strangulation, Bulletproof would still end up deader than a doorknob. And technical stuff is exactly what Rudy specializes in, or Robot, or Rex. Dude's had a lot of names, but you know who I'm talking about. Early on in the series, he's just an unassuming run-of-the-mill tech genius who helps the local superheroes. The further the series goes though, the more his intellect's true value is revealed. He's the tech genius. Hell, even after he tried to take over the world and Invincible defeated him, his brain was too great an asset to just kill him off. His intelligence is just that far above anyone else. Even after trying to conquer the planet, his brain was preserved in the Pentagon, kept there in case they ever need his genius against future threats. Further proving his genius, not only was Rudy able to create dozens of robots with superhuman strength in the early seasons, he later upgraded them by a vast degree. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't read the comics, but Rudy's upgraded automatons later in the series can match and even kill full-blooded Viltrumite warriors. And not just any warriors, but even Thrag's blows weren't enough to destroy these things, all while they were inside the sun. Not only were they durable enough to survive Thrag, they were able to cover up Mark and shield him enough to outlast Thrag as they both burned alive. And the show isn't anywhere close to there yet, but there's also the fact that he literally spends centuries on the Flaxen homeworld, overthrows their leaders, takes over the place, and then comes back to do the same on Earth after quietly wiping out most of its heroes with his robot army. He's just lucky everyone on Earth is lower tier than him though, because out in space is the epitome of mechanically broken characters. Alan the Alien, Zenkai boosts. That's it. That's Alan's whole thing. Genetically engineered as a being capable of adapting to literally anything for survival, Alan gets exponentially stronger every time he's brought to death's door and recovers from it. Originally, he's just about strong enough to throw hands with Season 1 Mark, and that's about it. After being brutalized by a Viltrumite squad in Season 2 and healing from the near-death condition he was put in, he gets bigger, stronger, faster, and much more broken. Matter of fact, he's so ridiculously OP at this point that when he lets the Viltrumites capture him to find Nolan, he gets sentenced to death only for them to find out they can't kill him. None nothing the Viltrumites try to off him with actually sticks, and that includes a literal death laser. Not only is his durability off the charts at this point, so is his strength, because he near effortlessly breaks out alongside Nolan and Battle Beast, after which he proceeds to completely destroy their jailers. His adaptability alone makes him such a threat that the only ones who could beat him are the characters in Tier 4 and beyond. Tier 4, True Monsters. Characters who don't have any particular gimmicks or special, unique powers outside the norm for their verse. Nah, these guys are just the physical embodiment of built different. And who better to put in this tier than Battle Beast, a man so powerful that he's been hunting to find someone stronger for literal decades, only to come up short every time. The Colossus of MCU, a being known as the terror of the whole universe. Before being tricked and sealed away, Battle Beast freed it, fought it, and flipped it the metaphorical bird. The Viltrumite jailer he fought alongside Alan and Nolan ripped his literal guts out. Thula, one of the elites of the Empire who's fought Invincible, Omni-Man, and Alan, fully embarrassed her and used her as a blunt weapon against her own people. Even the Ragnars, the only race in the cosmos that the Viltrumites are weak to as a whole, gets completely pulverized at the hands of Battle Beast. Battle Beast's raw states, unending fury, and thirst for a good fight make him an absolute monster on the battlefield, and the only reason he ever lost is because despite his bloodlust, he still had a warrior's honor. And because of that honor, when his final opponent was wounded for reasons out of their control, Battle Beast ripped his own guts open just to even the playing field. Ultimately, that's the main reason he lost his bout against Grand Regent Thrag, the stand-in emperor of the Viltrum Empire himself. Like I just said, he's the only living being who's ever managed to actually satisfy Battle Beast's thirst for mortal combat. That alone speaks volumes. But let's go over some other stuff he's done outside of that, like this. Yeah, so pretty sure between that, the fact he killed Battle Beast, and him being the ruler of the race of planet-conquering super beings, there's not much more to say. The only fight he's ever actually lost only happened because it was literally inside the freaking sun. So it's pretty safe to say he's the strongest character in Invincible at the current point in the show. Or he would be if a single other character wasn't a walking, talking cheat code. Tier 5, Cheat Code Straight Hacks. Adam Eve, an ordinary human on the surface, but a literal reality-manipulating goddess. When push comes to shove, Adam Eve's regular power set is OP on its own, to be sure. Manipulating non-living objects on an atomic level allows her to make literally anything into anything else, not to mention her energy constructs that have stood up even to the likes of Conquest. But none of that holds a candle to what she can do when she's at death's door, and all her mental limiters are suppressed. In this state, she can unleash the full extent of her powers, becoming capable of manipulating living matter as well. It's through this power that she revives herself from Conquest killing her, revives herself and Mark again when Thrag rips them apart, and essentially grants herself immortality by rebuilding her body in its prime every time she dies of old age. Side note, Mark is one lucky bastard. Now imagine that used offensively. She could straight up turn Thrag, Battle Beast, or anyone else in this video into a plastic version of themselves, or a cheeseburger. Well, maybe not that, but you get the idea. So while Eve might not beat any cosmic threats until she's literally at death's door, her reality warping definitely still wins her the title of heavyweight champion of the Invincible multiverse. But believe it or not, there are even more ridiculous characters than that in a ton of shows, and if you click the video on screen, you can find out all about them too.